Aloha, siblings. In this video, I will be playing Mastermind online, and it will be a bit of a tutorial where I try to be, a little more clear and, trying to be thoughtful in the way I'm explaining things and the idea that, you guys will learn it. I'm going to stick with, if you've seen the previous iteration, I suppose, of this sort of game, of the Mastermind online, I kind of just, play along and, I try to tell you what I'm doing or whatever. But, anyway, this will be a little bit more explicit. But also in that, I've explained how this one has 4, 6, or 8 ways of playing the game. I'm going to stick with just the 4 and with no duplicates throughout this game, or me playing the mind test online in this particular episode. I just think it'll be more successful what I'm trying to do. So I guess you guys will let me know if I'm right or not. So let me do the obligatory YouTube thing. Do the like, subscribe, comment on other people's comments. Check out my links in the description. And please come join one of the live streams on a Saturday night, 8 p.m. California time. I mean, that's the basic thing. So I guess that's it. Without further ado, let me move to the actual gaming window aspect of this. Let me move over a little bit. And you know what? This is the last game I played on the last episode, so let's go back. Let's let's remove the allow duplicates, and let's just go to 4. And there you go. So 4 spaces, these many guesses. Here's where you get your scoring pegs. Unlike Codebreaker, this doesn't use black and white, it uses red and white. But red is for correct color, correct location. White is for correct color, not correct location. Okay? And I'm going to start with just putting in a single color. I tend to just go in order of the colors. That's arbitrary. You can, choose your own strategy, right? But I'm going to do it this way because I think it's the easiest way for me to explain, and it's also a fairly straightforward way of playing the game. I suggest, though, if you don't like the way I'm doing it, find a way of being consistent so you can keep track of your thinking as you move through. So I think that'll become clearer as I go. So let's just see what happens. Is red in the puzzle? Red is not in the puzzle. So let's try guessing. Is blue in the puzzle? Nope. Blue is not in the puzzle. Oh, you know what? I was going to be whispering, wasn't I? So let's get to whispering. Is yellow in the puzzle? Yellow is in the puzzle. So, let's just try again. You don't know which of these 4 it is. It just is in one of those 4. So I like to start going left to right when I'm trying options because it allows me to keep track of, my thinking. So now I know there's 1 yellow. Well, there will only be 1 of each color in this iteration of the game because, well, remember I unclicked duplicates. So every color will only appear once. But it'll only be 4 of these 8, right? So maybe I shouldn't say every color appears once. Each color that appears in the puzzle appears once. So there will be 4 different colors. Right? Okay. Green is not in the puzzle. And yellow doesn't go in that spot. Right? That's what that means. So let's move the yellow over 1. Right? So I move from left to right. Now I'm just going to take the next color, which in this case is pink. And there you go. Right? So I know that it has to be one of these 3 pinks that the red peg is referring to. And because if the red peg referred to this yellow, that would mean a white peg referred to the pinks. And that means that the pinks have to move to a new location if yellow's occupying the only new location, right? You see how that leads to a contradiction, which implies that that assumption was incorrect. Okay, so I'm going to arbitrarily choose, again, the just pink, or the pink to the farthest left, I guess. Now I will move yellow 1 more over to the right, and now I will introduce green. Okay, now its last space. However, it could also be that this was correct, right? Or excuse me, no, it couldn't have been this. It could be this. Oh man, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So let me back up a second. From this line, one of these two is correct and one of them is wrong. If I assume that my first guess of pink here was correct, then yellow goes there. However, it could be that yellow goes here and pink was actually correct all the way to the right. So I only really have two choices with these two colors at the moment. So let's just try this one again, just because I already have assumed pink here. So until I come up with a contradiction that it tells me that pink can't go there, I will just keep putting pink there. Alright, so now I've moved the yellow, and we know that green's not in. Oh, why did I keep do green again? Yikes, that was silly. That was a huge waste of time. So let's put in white. So don't make silly mistakes. Okay, white is in fact in the puzzle. Alright, so, and I guessed right with the pink and the yellow, right? So it was in fact, my first guess with pink was correct. But I need to emphasize when I'm doing these things, at first it is just making an arbitrary decision, or guessing if you want to put it that way. So now again here, I have to take a choice or make a guess, or however you want to think about it. One of these two whites is correct. So I will pick the left-hand one and introduce the black. Okay, and they were all correct. Now let's see if I can do another one a little neater and cleaner without so many silly errors. So, introducing red. Red is not in this particular puzzle. Blue is in this particular puzzle. So, I have to pick one of these four. I again just start with the farthest left one, and then now I introduce yellow. And they're not correct, which is kind of cool because none of these yellows are correct. Right, I tried yellow in 3 spaces, still got a white peg. It can't go in any of those 3. Okay, it has to go where the blue is sitting right now, which is consistent, or, is good for us because the blue is also white. So we'll put the yellow where the blue was, right, again, because it's the only place left for it to be, and the blue has to go there, right? Okay, well, no, that's not true. See, I've already made a silly mistake. It doesn't have to go there. I'm moving it there by my arbitrary decision, right? Just because I need to try something. So it's one of these 3 spots. So I'm putting it here in the first spot. So it doesn't have to go there. That's just my habit. So now let's introduce green as the next color. Alright, so green is in, and I guessed properly with the blue. So yellow goes here, blue goes there. Now I have to pick one of these 2. Again, I will choose the left-hand one, and we will throw in pink. Pink is not in the puzzle, but green is in the correct spot. So yellow, blue, green. Now let's put in white. There we go. Yay for us. Alright, let's go back here. And yeah, I'll do a few more of these, I think. So again, starting with red. Red is in the puzzle this time. So now I'm putting it here in the first position, just to give it, that's my first, I'm trying that first. Now let's put in blue. Alright, blue is out of the puzzle because I didn't get a new scoring peg, but I got a white one, which means red doesn't go there. So let's move red 1, just to try the next spot. And let's try yellow. Okay, yellow is in the puzzle. One of them is correct, and the other one needs to move. Now again, in a situation like this, the red peg can't be referring to the single one, right? Because if it was, again, the yellows would have nowhere to go, right? So it has to be one of these 3 yellows. I'm going to pick the left one, and we will move red 1 more to the right, and introduce green. red and white, right? That's always going to end up this way. This pattern always means it's one of these three, and then that one moves. All right, so the key being red can't be here. So not here, not here, certainly not here, because there's no controversy here at all. None of these are in the right spot. Okay, so red has to go there. That's its only option now at this point, which is now helps us a great deal, because back on this line, this red peg here meant that one of these three yellows was correct. Well, it can't be this one because of these white pegs, and it can't be this one because we've already determined that red has to go there, which means our only option left is that yellow has to go there, right? Let me walk through that again just to make sure that, I'm making sense. Again, this means, well, let's go back to here. This means red is in the puzzle. And I just don't know which of the four spots, right? And we know this is the right thing, right? Because it means that one of those four is in the right spot, right? So in the puzzle, in the right spot. So which of the four? Try this one. And we put in blue to check. All right, only one scoring peg. So blue's out, red's in, but not there. Okay, here. Okay, I got a new scoring peg. So that means yellow is in fact in the puzzle, right? I have one of these things correct and one of them not. All right, if red is correct, yellow has nowhere new to go, so that cannot be the case. That means my assumption that red being correct here is wrong. That means the white peg refers to the red disc here. So it means one of these three yellows is correct. So again, I just moved the red one over just to check it. And then I just decided to try this yellow just to see what we would get. And again, I got all three whites, right? I also introduced the green discs on this line as well. So I know there is a green because I got a new scoring peg, right? But, so it's only one of them, of course. And here we go. The red goes here, so obviously it doesn't go there. The yellow goes there, so it doesn't go there, right? This one, it can't go here because of the white peg. So that means green has to go there, right? So now it's just a matter of, so we're going to have these are just going to move forward in those positions, and we have to try each of these four. I just take them in turn, starting on the left. All right, now it's not pink. So let's say green, I will throw in the white, and then let's put the yellow and the red in. Right, so just keeping the green, yellow, and red, introducing the new color. And it's not white. So let's say green, let's introduce the black disc, and put in yellow and red. Nope, so it's got to be purple. Right? Process of elimination thing, yeah. What do you know? There we go. All right. Let's do another one of these. So let's check to see if red is anywhere in the puzzle. It is not. Let's check to see if blue is anywhere in the puzzle. It is not. Let's check to see if yellow is anywhere in the puzzle. It is not. Wow. Let's see if green is in the puzzle. It is. So I'm going to just try out the first position here. And then now let's check to see if pink is anywhere in the puzzle. It is. Since I got a new scoring peg, that means both of these colors are in. Now, this is another nice one because they're both white, which means nobody's in the correct spot, which means I could just move green over, right? Okay, that's fine, just move green over. But it also means pink doesn't go here. Doesn't go in any of these three. The only space for it to be is here. So this will have to be the case. We'll get a red peg for this one. This one we're not sure of yet. So I will try, let's see if white is in the puzzle. White is in the puzzle, and I guessed correctly on the green, just got lucky. So pink goes here, now introduce the black. And we got them all correct. Okay. I just had an idea. I think at some point in time, I'm going to do a special mind test, Mastermind live thing as a tutorial, maybe, so that you guys could actually ask questions as I'm going along, Let me know if you think that would be valuable to you. Because if nobody's interested, I'm not going to bother with it, but if you guys think it would be valuable to you, then I would do it. Anyway, let's do another game. I'm probably only going to do a couple more of these. I realize that makes this a fairly short video, but I think it's better to keep things fairly short in a tutorial sort of thing like this, and it might be best for you to rewatch it a few times. And for that matter, the game layout is different, but the strategy and the logical thinking is exactly the same in the Codebreaker game. So if you want to go back and rewatch those, that could be helpful too. In any case, I guess, I'm just going to arbitrarily say I'm going to do 2 more, and I'll try to be as slow and deliberate as possible. Well, maybe not as possible, because that would be like, let's go red. You know what I mean? Let's not be quite that slow. But here we go. Now, again, I just go colors in order, starting with red. I'm just testing to see if red is in the puzzle. It is not. So now I am testing to see if blue is in the puzzle. It is not. Now I'm testing to see if yellow is in the puzzle. It is. So it is my habit to start off trying to the left, because this tells me it's in the puzzle, but it doesn't distinguish between which of the 4 ones. We just know that one of these 4 is the correct position. Well, yeah, if yellow's in the puzzle, right? I mean, that should be pretty straightforward and obvious, I hope. Alright, so now I'm just testing. I'm guessing yellow goes there on the left, and I'm checking to see if green goes in any of those others. Okay, again, right, we have the 2 colors, double white, right? Again, that means yellow's gotta move, but it also means green's gotta move, and that means it can't be in those 3. It's gotta be in that one. Again, we will get a red peg for this one. Not sure yet about this one. Alright, the yellow, we're trying it out. We're testing to see if this is the correct spot. Now, let's test to see if pink is in the puzzle. It is. Alright, we know green goes there, so one of the red pegs refers to green. Okay, now, either the yellow or one of these 2 pinks is referred to, or this is referring to those, and then one of them is white. Now, this is sort of a mini version of this, right? Oh, actually it's not, because this is the double white, wasn't it? Okay, so it's a similar sort of thing, though, right? I can't have the yellow one be the correct one here, because then the pink one has nowhere new to go, right? So if this was a red peg, that would mean a white peg referred to one of these pink, but where does it go, right? So my assumption, if yellow, then whatever, it's like, that's a contradictory thing, can't work. So I have to move yellow, right? But one of the pinks is correct. The only one I have left to try is this one. So let's test, right? Again, this is like I'm just testing out to see what's what until I get information. So this we know. These we're testing, right? So now let's introduce white. Okay, white is not in the puzzle because I did not get a new scoring peg. However, I know that the colors that I know are in the puzzle are in the correct spot. Right? So these 3 stay there for the rest of the game, and the rest of the game is going to be short because it's either black or purple. So either this is correct or it'll be the next line with purple. There we go. Alright, let's do this one more time. Alright, testing to see if red goes there. Anywhere, right? Nope. Testing. Is blue in here anywhere? It is. Let's start on the left. Let's test this position. And now I'm testing to see if yellow is in the puzzle at all. Okay, it is, right? And I guess since I got both reds, that's nice. It means the blue I guessed correctly on the first one, so this test was successful. So now we've deduced blue goes there. That's it. Right? Now one of these three yellows is correct. So start on the left. Now let's test to see if green is in, right? So I'm testing the yellow's position, and I'm testing whether green is even in the puzzle. Alright, since I didn't get a new scoring marble, green is not in the puzzle. However, since these are both red still, that means that not only is the blue correct, but the yellow is in the correct spot. So now I'm going to test to see if pink is even in the puzzle at all, right? So this one, just to reinforce this, right? This tells me both these colors are in, right? I just don't know which three of the yellow, or which one of these three is correct. But we know blue, bingo, he goes there. So we're testing the yellow here, and I got this score, so yeah, good test. Bingo, bingo. Now, I'm just checking to see, again, we're testing, is pink in the puzzle? Nope. Alright. But we know these two. We've already deduced these. That's that. We're done with those two. Now let's test to see if white is in. Nope. Alright. Now here's the thing. I usually go one color per line kind of thing. However, I know for certain that these two are correct. And I only have two spots left and only two colors left. So either they go black-purple or they go purple-black. That's it. Those are your only options. So let's start with black-purple. Yep, here we go. In any case, I hope that made sense. Feel free to ask any questions. I will happily respond as clearly as I can. If there's too many questions that, or if there's a lot of questions that have fairly detailed, where my answers need to be fairly detailed, what I might do is just, comment to you saying, okay, I'm going to make a new tutorial addressing that specific issue. You know what I mean? So I think that's what I'll try. In any case, I hope that if you wanted relaxation, that worked. I hope if it's you were drawn here by the whisper through the headset, that worked for you. And if you did come, in fact,